Before you watch this video, I would highly recommend you check out two other videos of mine, How I Almost Committed Self-Deletion and the long-awaited video about my past. If you don't, you'll definitely be confused throughout this whole video, then complain that you're confused in the comments. But even if you have seen those videos, you might be just a little bit confused, so I'll do a quick little recap. All my life, I was homeschooled in an extremely Christian household.
You're all going to hell.
And it really messed up my mental health. Like, a lot. A lot of my friends either moved away, got jobs, went to college, you know, that whole song and dance. So of course, I escaped into the internet. I watched a lot of different people, and I eventually became a fan of Sonic 93. Yes, I used to like her videos, and no, I don't remember why. She was the mother of the DeviantArt ranting community, and did a lot of videos bashing Akai Dahlia and Yoshi1. In retrospect, her reasons for bashing them were pretty fucking small. She even suspected that Yoshi1 was a sexual predator and a danger to children because, get this, he was really into Amy Rose. There was another guy who really liked Amy Rose who went by the name of Paul and Amy, and he did very, very horrible things to children, but still, to compare the two is just such a stretch. Fortunately, she eventually got called out for this. Unfortunately, it wasn't until several years later. If you want more information, well, I have a whole video series on her, so go check that out. But it's not super important to understand this video. Just know that she wasn't really the greatest person and made mountains out of molehills, so you can imagine what kind of community stemmed from her. I started my own YouTube channel where I mostly talked about webcomics, but I also wanted to get involved with the DeviantArt ranting community to change it from the inside out. I saw a whole bunch of them were gaining up on a 14-year-old who went by the name Princess Elizabeth 013. Unlike Akai Dahlia and Yoshi1, she was still a teenager and a young teen at that. She was bashed for a few reasons, one of them being that she was really homophobic and transphobic. But she was also still a teenager and was raised in a Christian household. I used to be homophobic and I was raised in a Christian household, so I knew at heart she wasn't a bad person, she just needed to change. Turns out the people in the ranting community didn't give a shit if she changed or not. They just wanted to bash her. Repeatedly. For the smallest of reasons. After she left the internet, a few ranters decided they wanted to go after me next. They just needed a reason to do so. What was the reason? Well, I called Geeky Girl Heather Dollface. Yep, that's it. A whole bunch of people went after me, like Lulu, IDKY Hannah, Hopeless Romantic, who helped people like Sonic 93 and Amy-chan do videos on Yoshi1, along with a whole bunch of other people. Eventually, this ended with me being falsely accused of something. And no, it's not the thing people are normally falsely accused of, like doing non-consensual things to a child or a woman. I was falsely accused of pushing someone into committing self-deletion.
I'm going to kill myself, and it's your fault!
By Jinx Drowned, who's now known as Nummy Pixels. And then I was falsely accused of pushing another person into committing self-deletion by Chaos55T. Yes, that Chaos55T. But we'll get to those two later. I fell into a deep, deep depression, and about a year later I came back to YouTube under the name Just a Robot. Now there are several reasons why I picked the name Just a Robot, and they are all true, but the main reason why I picked a robot persona was so I could roboticize my voice.
Oh, Rashade the Reactor. The saltiest reactor of them all.
So that these people couldn't find me again. Because let's be honest here, I have a pretty fucking distinct voice. And I was smart to do that because according to a few of their other victims, they hunted them down even years after their dramas were already over. With my new Just a Robot account, I decided to join the community I thought would be the furthest community from them. Instead of a community that was all about oversensitivity, I wanted a community that was edgy and offensive. so I joined the skeptic community. But thanks to Doodle Tones, I got pulled right back into their community again. While the small commentary community that uses avatars is not exactly the same as the DeviantArt ranting community who also uses avatars, they had a lot of overlap. So much overlap that one of the ranters who came after me, Icy Hazard, got into a drama with Doodle Tones. I finally had the chance to get revenge on one of the people who wronged me, and I jumped at the opportunity. Surprisingly, Lulu commented on that video, with no idea who I actually was. A few of the other ranters who came after me also saw the video and they didn't know who I was. Later I got involved with a few other dramas, like the Spoctor drama with Stories in Pentagrin, and the Sonic 93 drama, finally giving me the chance to take down the person who created the community that hurt me the most. Now shortly after I did my last video on Sonic 93, I decided maybe it was finally time I came out and told my story. But I needed information on the people I was talking about, so I asked Amy-chan if she knew anything, and she didn't. But she told me to talk to the name's Junkie. He should know what's going on, and he didn't have any information for me. But the name's Junkie did send me to talk to Lakamoka Laka. And yes, Laka is the person I gave the alias Seahorse to in the video I did about the name's Junkie and Box of Fox. Laka had all the information, and he, a she at the time, knew what happened to me in my past, and they were willing to share their information with me. That is, if I told them who I really was. I decided to tell them who I was, with the one caveat that they wouldn't tell anyone, and they immediately told a whole bunch of different people, including the name's Junkie, Harsh Opinions, and Box of Fox. Yes, I did share my story with Box of Fox, but Box didn't know that me and Seo were the same person until Laka told them. Yes, Lulu was the person Laka was talking about in this video. And yes, this is the same group Harsh Opinions talked about in her Truthly a Gaia videos. I felt like now, at long last, I had a ranting community that would be on my side till the bitter end. A small part of me thought this was going to be too easy, like I over-prepared for this, but I heard a small voice in the back of my head saying, "Hey buddy, just so you know, your life ain't this easy." Laka said they were almost done with their video, so I uploaded my video on how I almost committed self-deletion to get people hyped for the video about my past, and then Laka asked for another month, and then another month, and another one, and another one. During the wait, me and Harsh Opinions became pretty close friends, and Harsh got involved in the Toby drama, which caused the drama with me, Prismate Luke, Kai Wise, Creepshow Art, Hopeless Peaches, and I think a few others. It did baffle me that Harsh Opinions became friends with Kai Weiss and Omnia so fucking fast, or how during the Toby drama and my drama when Prismate Luke was accusing me of being racist, the name's Junkie backstabbed me in Manga Common. Or later, when I was helping out Hopeless Peaches, Box of Fox along with Majesty also backstabbed me. Can everybody stop backstabbing me for 5 fucking seconds? I'm made of metal, it's not gonna work out well for you. I will admit, during the Toby drama, and the drama with Prismate Luke calling me racist, I started to fall into despair. I felt like my chance to get closure on the situation that happened to me years ago was just ripped from my hands, and my friends backstabbing me certainly didn't make anything easier. But luckily for me, Just Stop turned everything around when he called out Prismate Luke. What's funny is that the same person who did Just Stop's original avatar stills was the same person who did my avatar stills. It's little things like this that make me believe in fate. After Prismate Luke got called out for lying over and over and over again, he finally quit. But I still was afraid of Creepshow Art. I was trying to find a way to take her down before I talked about my past. Luckily, LolCow leaked a whole bunch of terrible shit she did, and everybody turned against her, and a bunch of her victims came forward with their stories about what she did to them. I finally thought at long last I had the room to talk about the video about my past. But then no one asked did a video on me saying I wasn't a Creepshow Art victim, because apparently I think I'm a victim of Creepshow Art, just because I said Creepshow Art hurt me and my friends one time. Omnia tweeted about this, and Kai Weiss did his second video on me just because I left a comment underneath someone else's video that was vaguely negative about him. And yes, no one asked Kai Weiss and Omnia are old friends. But I knew if I got into a confrontation with Kai, the names Junkie, Box of Fox, and Holy Majesty would all jump to defend him. So I came up with a little evil plan. First, I found out that Majesty drew cub porn, which Nil found out about during his drama with Majesty, which all started just because Nil told Kai to block him. I found out that Box of Fox was telling one of my editors to no longer work with me, or they'll stop being friends with them. And after I got Laka to get Junkie to unblock me, I found out he was lying about me in Manga Common, saying Manga Common blackmailed him just because he recorded a call with permission. Thanks, Laka, for getting Junkie to unblock me. Without your help, I never would have accomplished taking him down. And honestly, everything worked out way too well. I talked about Majesty just for 30 seconds in a video after he did 3 videos on me, and he left the internet. Turns out Box of Fox has a history of doing a lot of terrible things, and they also left the internet. As for the names Junkie, Jesus, did a lot of people come forward. It turns out he had a history of backstabbing people in the commentary community for little to no reason. Yappe. Such as Heaton Mitsuru, Menace, and Mind Your Business, who used to be known as fishlizard.zip. I'll link all their videos down below if you want more information about what this little dragon did. Chunky, if you really thought you were gonna get away with this forever, you must have really been puffing the magic dragon. And now that all of those who would have stopped me are gone, I could finally talk about my past. And honestly, let's just say the journey certainly beat the destination. I was expecting a war to happen after the video about my past went up, not before. But a lot of the people finally apologized to me. Broken Muse apologized to me, Lulu apologized to me, Lily apologized to me, Dan, someone I wasn't expecting to see, also apologized to me in a private message on Twitter, and even Beatrice, aka Foxy, said sorry. Now, they were just pawns by Geeky Girl Heather and Levi, who didn't say sorry. Now, Heather, I would like you to know something. I have a particular set of skills. Skills that would make someone like me a nightmare to someone like you. I will look for you, I will find you, and I will do what you did to me tenfold. But what about Jinx Drowned, who's now known as Nummy Pixels, and is a man? Or Chaos55T, the people who falsely accused me of pushing their friends into committing self-deletion. Well, before my video even came out, she was subtweeting about the whole situation with the names Junkie, saying that people were just upset with him because of hurt feelings, even though he was backstabbing people and attempting to ruin their commentary career. As you guys know, after my video on the names Junkie came out, a whole bunch of people also came out against the names Junkie. So of course, Chaos55T compares this to the Spocter in the Hopeless Peaches dramas. It's really hilarious to me that she implies that I'm on the same level as Prismate Luke, Stories and Pentagrin, and all the others, when she was the one who falsely accused me of pushing one of her friends into committing self-deletion. Now, to be fair, Chaos did apologize to me on DeviantArt, saying what she did was vile and unjustifiable. But she seems to think that the unjustifiable thing was leaving me in the lion's den. Chaos, I'm a lot more upset with you for claiming that I pushed your friend into committing self-deletion than you not helping me out. Also, Chaos, you might want to be a little bit more careful in your private Discord accounts because they always get leaked. Anyways, here's a few screenshots people sent me about what Chaos55T was saying about me in her Discord server. I watched my segment. Oh boy, did he forget how old I was when that incident happened? 13 to 14. Haha, sorry bitch, looks like you were the one who forgot how old you were when that incident happened. Cause you're 24 now, and my screenshots date back to 2015. You were 16 or 17 at the time. And also, I don't give a fuck if you were 13 or 14. Know who else was around that age? Princess fucking Elizabeth, the person you all harassed. You falsely accused me of pushing someone into committing self-deletion. See you in Lily drama. When looking up to my groomer. Your groomer? Where is this going? Yoinks! ... So was he victim blaming? my close friend ended up committing self-deletion because of YouTube, and I got extremely heated. Did he not realize I only defended Lily because she groomed me? But my friend fucking died? How do you expect a 14-year-old to react when they get told they cannot leave, or else the person will harm themselves? Goody for you, your friend is no longer with you. You still blame their death on me. That's my problem. And where's this whole Lily groomed you bullshit coming from? You completely made up the whole Lily groomed you story. But I'll be going over that later on in the video. Again, you were not 14 at the time, and I never said I would harm myself if you left the call. Stop fucking lying about me, bitch! I'm noticing he also tried to turn it into a sob story about himself. Dude, that's a yikes. Are you guys fucking serious? I almost committed self-deletion. I was getting falsely accused of fucking murder. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Yeah, he tried to compare this to the Spoctor situation and said he's a victim of everyone else's lies. Good grief, this whole jar drama is getting worse for some reason. Because there's no one around to stop him. Okay, let's break this down. Number 1, I can compare this to the Spoctor situation because I was being lied about, especially when you consider Chaos 55T was trying to do the same thing with the name's Junkie. And number 2, there are plenty of people who can stop me. Spoctor, Ponder, Thuman, and so many other commentators. The problem is you guys don't have anything on me, but why does anyone even need to stop me? I did nothing wrong. I found the clip where Jar downplayed my grooming. Chaos, I wasn't downplaying your grooming because you weren't getting fucking groomed.
How were you groomed?
Lily clearly has a mental issue. She's not very smart. You were the one trying to convince her to join your cult and get her to move in with you. But again, we'll be going over that more later on in the video. Chaos 55T goes on to say that their only crime was being a 14-year-old surrounded by toxic adults and they were just convinced to pick a side. But, Chaos, your crime was saying I pushed them to death. That's the issue, you dumb bitch. Why do you keep ignoring that? They say that obituaries don't automatically get updated, which, I never claimed they did. This situation happened over half a decade ago, and whether Miles White died or not is not my issue. My issue is that Chaos 55T says I'm responsible when I didn't even know the person. So Jinx Drowned, aka Nummy Pixels, has left DeviantArt. Now I don't think this was because of me. They did say they were moving accounts a few months ago, but I certainly think I at least sped up the process. But they did make a journal about me just before they left, and the first paragraph they say they have zero memory of the drama. Even more proof that Swarm was just a sock puppet account, because if I lost a friend because of internet drama, I certainly would keep some memory about it. In the second paragraph, they say I can contact them privately and we can talk it out like adults, which is hilarious to me because I tried to talk it out with them several years ago and they just blocked me. They also say that I was constantly misgendering them. I was referring to you as a she because you were a she back then. I had no fucking idea you transitioned. I don't misgender people on purpose. If I was actually stalking you, I would actually know your fucking gender. So please, don't say I'm stalking you. They also complained that my rabid fans went after them, and all I gotta say is, good. Your rabid fans went after me. This is the internet. It's about time you got a taste of your own medicine. What goes around comes around, and karma's only a bitch if you are. There's not really anything of note in the third paragraph, but in the fourth paragraph, they say that. Oh my god, it's the same that they said to me all those years ago. Remember in my video about my past, where they said, do you realize that could put you in jail? They also say they were in middle school back then. That is untrue. They were in high school. Yeah, for some reason, everybody in this drama is pretending like they were much younger than they really were, which is just weird to me. In the fifth paragraph, they say they're still in contact with Heather, which is very interesting to me. They also say that they were just mean to me, even though they falsely accused me of pushing someone into committing self-deletion. They also call me a notorious racist YouTuber. First I was just racist, then super racist, and now I'm notoriously racist. I just keep evolving.
Say.
Also, this is another example of someone calling me racist and being a terrible person. They also say they're no longer friends with Lulu, Levi, and the others. So it's not their fault for what they do, even though my problem with Jinx, aka Nummy Pixels, was that, they falsely accused me of pushing someone into committing self-deletion. A lot of this was just so boring to read and I started skipping ahead. One interesting part was where she said she's good at apologizing and has matured from her past, even though she still hasn't apologized to me for falsely accusing me of pushing someone into self-deletion. But now that Nummy Pixels is gone, I guess the journals about Princess Elizabeth have also been taken down. I mean, that's one way to get rid of them. Better late than never, I suppose. But I still have one last person I need to go over. The person I gave the alias Seahorse to, who is also a trans guy. The person who kept on telling me to hold off on my video. Laka Mocha Laka. Here's a few screenshots that someone gave me. They were found in the Discord server of Harsh Opinions.
Coincidence? I think not!
Wait, oh Jesus. If Jaw had only waited for Laka's video, things would have actually made sense. So they're actually a casualty? ... Yeah, Rob. Yeah. Mark wasn't kidding when he said, a lot happened. Well, I can say, hope she resting in peace. But yeah, Jar is poo-poo. Yeah, I don't know who this Lulu person is. Let's just hope he doesn't pull a part 2. Knowing him? Probably. Yeah. And I even don't know Chaos 55T. What is this shit? That unfortunately is a part I have to clear up because ... that incident actually happened. I'm finding the death certificate as we speak. They are one of the victims. Trust me, I know. Oh, people gonna rip Jar head off. Blocked message. There is even more than this. Yeah, people don't play about minors. Well, I watched that Seahorse video. He said I lied about me ... attempting ... I don't lie, I can send the evidence to prove it. Knowing Jar, he didn't give much context for anything in his video. That hurt the most when he said that. We used to be friends, so him saying that hurt. Him saying to KYS to me hurt. I can prove Laka's claims. Of course it hurt. He mocked you, almost committing self-delete. You were right about the drama. Blocked message. How did you figure it out? Link what happened. In someone already. Poofed out of existence. Because of him. A fucking child. I don't feel bad for him anymore. Blocked message. Blocked message. That child was real. The first one of the group lied about. Chaos didn't lie about their friend being dead. They showed me their pictures. The group lied, she didn't. Blocked message. Blocked message. Oh boy, this is a lot to unpack. Plenty of people could follow the video. In fact, it's one of my most well-received videos ever. People who don't even know who I am were able to follow the video. What's wrong with you? And I did wait on Laka for their video for over a year, but they weren't finishing it. And they also looked over my video before I uploaded it and said everything was okay. I just needed to wait for their video, but they never finished it. Now I am confused about a lot of these messages. I didn't take these screenshots myself, someone else did. Maybe there's more context I'm missing, but I'm pretty confused and I think they're implying my video caused someone to self-delete, which... Please, for the love of God, stop falsely accusing me of this shit. And Laka was the one who fucking told me to check obituaries to see if Chaos 55T's friend was even real. And whether Chaos 55T's friend was real or not, it doesn't matter. They said I was the one who pushed him into committing self-deletion. That's what I have a fucking problem with. Okay, that wording was a little bad. If Chaos 55T really had a friend who offed themselves, I'm sorry, it really sucks that you had to lose someone close to you, but why did you have to blame me for it? And Laka, I never mocked your attempt at self-deletion. I just said I don't believe it. And I also never ever told you to KYS. Laka, you're a compulsive liar. Your story kept on changing as to why I had to hold off on my video. First it was your audio was corrupting, and then parts of your computer were melting, and then your internet was down. And then you had to do a bunch of legal court stuff. And then you had to get people whitelisted. I told you I would hold off on my video if you proved the court case, but you never did.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
I even gave you one more chance before I uploaded the video. Laka, do you really care about the victims? Because your video on Truthly Agaya is still up, and your video on Akai Dahlia. If you really care about the victims, why the fuck didn't you take those videos down if you no longer stand behind them? Laka, you had a channel with over 100,000 subscribers listening to you when you had less than 1,000. And at one point you fucking blocked me, expecting me not to upload the video. What's wrong with you? Other people who you were working with, like the names Junkie and Box of Fox, fucking backstabbed me. There were way too many red flags for me to keep listening to you, and you just couldn't prove jack shit. I want some hard evidence for these claims. Why are the messages blocked? Did you do that, or the person who sent me these screenshots? What the hell is going on? Maybe the same thing that happened to the names Junkie and Box of Fox will happen to Laka. A bunch of people will finally come forward with all their dirty laundry. Well, Laka, I'm gonna do something you haven't done. Give a voice to the other victims, so you can't play the "but you're not the only victim" card any longer. So now, I would like to turn the mic over to the biggest victim of all, Princess Elizabeth 013, so she can finally get closure on this situation. By the way, I mean she's the biggest victim from this group, not the biggest victim of anything ever.
Oh, I'm finally done. I'm finally done editing this shit. Okay, the next part's going to X-Row. I guess, bye.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Aaron, or as you once knew me during the drama, Princess Elizabeth 013. During the entire ordeal, I was bullied over my old Sonic the Hedgehog fan character named Elizabeth Agalope, who used to be Princess Elizabeth, and I was also bullied over shipping Elizabeth with random characters I liked or used to like. The drama started all because Joker, aka Nummy Pixels, blacklisted me from using his bases because of my past homophobia and transphobia. Because of it, I was sadly subjected to hate art disguised as critique and parody, along with copycat OCs, unwanted OC redesigns, and a hate page on ED. One day, I was tricked into a call by Joker and his friends, claiming it was an intervention of my behavior, when in reality, they only invited me to harass me. They angered me to the point where I told someone to go self-delete, which I regret doing. He even made an interview video where all it was is just him and his group making me upset and snap. One time, when Joker invited me to a private chat, he quoted the villain Prince Hans from the movie Frozen, telling me, if only there was someone out there who loved me, because I had no one to turn to when I was being bullied. Every time I tried to escape him and his clique, they always found me on a different website and made sure that I got banned by provoking me into aggression. On December 4th of 2015, a troll by the name of Nikki Neko 333 drove me to the point where I contemplated self-deletion, and I was hospitalized for a week. Not to mention that the abuse I faced there wasn't any better than what I faced online. During the time of the drama, I was struggling with anger issues due to childhood bullying at the public school, and it was the reason why I did school online. The drama stopped in August 2016 when my current friend, Astronomicon aka Astra, kindly stepped in and she made a group chat where Joker and I talked things out. After you posted your video where you talked about your past, a few ex-friends of mine came forward to apologize for what they've done to me. After apologies were exchanged and I forgave them of the damage that was done, my ex-friends and I have since reconciled and are mending our relationships. Even though I forgive Joker and everyone involved with the drama, I have PTSD from both the bullying in real life and online. Plus, I also feel apologetic, hence why I apologize so much. To anyone involved in the drama, please step forward, apologize for what you've done to me and mean it, and remove the art and post you've made on me, meaning full deletion and not being put in storage.
This was the person who so many years ago I tried to help change into being a better person. While being transphobic and homophobic are certainly not good things, just shipping your OC with other fictional characters really isn't a bad thing, and they got way too much hate for it. Along with other people like Akai Dahlia and Yoshi Wee 1. A lot of people back then just wanted to bully Sonic fans, especially if they were autistic, or just autistic people in general, just because they wanted another CWC to make fun of. I understand a lot of people think cyberbullying is no big deal, but those who get cyberbullied are those who don't have a lot going on in their real life. The people who scream out racist, sexist, homophobic don't care about the groups they're fighting for. They just want to use those groups to bully others. And honestly, I'm quite sick of it. I will link Erin's channel down below. Please go give her some support. She really needs it after all she's been through. But now I'll turn the mic over to one of those who bullied me in my past. One who was bullied by the same group as me just a few weeks after I left.
I'm going to preface what I have to say with a couple of things. The first of which is that I'm incredibly out of practice saying anything like this. The second, of course, would be that this is an apology, a testimony, and an explanation. On that note, I have saved nothing, and also have none of the social media accounts or receipts from that time, so everything I say is word of mouth, and from my own recollection. I understand if you don't wish to take what I have to say at face value. But yes, hello, I am Broken Muse, currently known as Vivi. The events with Just a Robot, or as I know him, CEO or CO, were nearly 10 years ago. We'll start there. I had found the group with Heather through IDKY Hanafu. I had hired her as an artist for my blog at the time through seeing her art in one of Lulu's old videos. After a time of being friends, I joined their little group and I spent time in their hangouts, shooting the breeze, joking around, and more or less just making fools out of ourselves. But their bread and butter was drama. Thriving on it, dipping their fingers into whatever battle was going on, or in this case, making one. The first mention of CEO came from Heather when she mentioned some DA creator being sexist to her, or that's how she worded it. Being a closeted trans woman for a good deal of my life, I honestly was just happy to be part of a group of girls and have what I felt to be a genuine group of female friends. So when they told me what to do and how to handle things, I went along blindly. They brought CEO into a handful of calls, and each time they seemed to want to twist his arm on this or that, which Just a Robot went over far better in his video than I ever could. All along they told me, due to my deeper voice and more powerful tone of voice, that I was to yell at, overpower, and belittle him if he got out of line. Which again, I did blindly. They told me to lay out rules, and even how to answer the DMs they sent me when he wanted my help in solving everything. It came to a paramount for me, anyways, in one of the final streams where I personally went too far. I had bashed him down and down until he broke in a private call and started to sob. It was enough of a wake-up call that when I was done, I wanted so much to reach out to him, to talk to him, and apologize. But after the call ended, I had no way of finding him. I never got the chance, and much like myself, when my penance and my own suffering had come, he vanished. Left social media, just no trace. It's no excuse for what I did. I did what I did, and I need to own it. I'm truly sorry for how I behaved, how cruel and brutal I was. I should have never gone to that point, but I can't change the past. All I can do is better the future. But on to how it all fell apart. There is a lot to say in little time, so I'll keep it compact for the time being. Mere weeks after the CEO episode, they needed to turn their sights into someone else. That person ended up being me, in the form of an hour-long slam piece. Allegations from being a sexual offender of many variations to being a liar and a manipulator. Much of which what was said was stretched, fabricated, and some of it was just downright lies. The main thing that everyone remembers of what happened was me being accused of being attracted to minors. This was due to my attraction to Lulu, who I admit at the time I had great feelings for. More mature voice in the group, and one who carried herself well. I admit it was on me that I had not asked her age. We did no more than flirt and be a little romantic, and never went further. But this was enough for them to pull their strings and turn it into a show, staging and fabricating a video to paint me as, well, the P word. The other thing had to do with Jinx, who herself announced me being such a thing and ever done such things in a now deleted journal, which I have sent along to Just a Robot, so you may show it here. Many hurtful accusations, many lies, and in the end, everyone believed it. Within a night, I had to woke up to many people that had blocked, removed me, and haven't even talked to me. My life at the time was in a rough spot, being, well, homeless since I was 15, and everyone I called a friend or a family was quite the distance away. Losing all my friends shattered me. I looked down the desk door and I was incredibly close to ending myself. I had a plan set, I wrote a note of goodbye to those who would read it, and I made my intent very clear. Though shockingly, the one who pulled me from the ledge was Lulu, the one who betrayed me during the video. Long story short, she had set up a video call with me. I turned my camera on, she turned hers on. She was told to ask certain things, say certain things to more or less stage evidence, which didn't even do anything anyways. But no less, people believed it, and she was literally pushed into doing it. But I understand why she did what she did, and I'll leave it to her to tell you when she says her piece. It doesn't change that she did it, but there's a light of hope, and for her, I hung on. I vanished from the public eye for years, and only came back about a couple of years ago. I don't know you, Hannah, Levi, and Heather, the other three who brought it all together, who ruined many lives and shattered many more. I have said what I need to. I truly am sorry from the bottom of my heart, just a robot. No, Luke. Goodbye, and thank you.
I was in a few VCs with Broken Muse after the video about my past came out, and while I did want to yell at them at first, I think what they've been through was certainly punishment enough. While they did say they joined the group 10 years ago, the stuff that happened with me was during 2014 and 2015. But if that is true, from what I can remember, when I first spoke to the group, they said Broken Muse was a neutral party who just joined them, which is just another lie on top of everything else. But more shit did happen to Broken Muse, and when they make their full video about it, I'll be sure to link it under this video, but it won't be out for quite a while. I was told that they said Broken Muse didn't have the right to call themselves a woman, and they intentionally misgendered her over and over. Funny that they portrayed themselves as fighting for LGBT rights when they do this shit. But now we're getting to the third and final person, Lily. Remember how I said we're gonna get to the Chaos 55T grooming allegations later on in the video? Well, now it's the time we get to it.
This is not just your typical teenager to young adult high school-esque drama. This was something that, to me, was so violated of my personal vulnerability that it completely screwed with my ability to sense who to trust and to not trust. This situation had completely fucked over my mind and made me feel incredibly sexually violated. This wasn't a roleplay that got out of hand. This was a case of a sleazy degenerate who had stooped to a level so low that even Pennywise would not want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. This was a creepy, slimy miscreant who took advantage of my personal offline situations, emotional downs, and mental states, and convinced me into believing that there really was an entity who would change people's lives by giving them special powers in exchange for a very intimate contract, and completely used it all against me. Even if she says that she wasn't involved in the hate page about me, I have a hard time believing that. Even if she says that she is truly sorry about what she did, I cannot bring myself to actually forgive her, even if I said I would when I was at the age of 25 at the time. This decadent that I am referring to, who I cannot bring myself to call a human being, is Chaos 55T. You might be asking, Lily, why are you bringing this up now? Didn't you say you would forgive Chaos for what she's done and move on from it? Well, you see, there is a reason why I am bringing this up now, and I am not going to let anyone force me to behave like a good little silent girl and keep quiet. The reason why I am bringing this up now is because I cannot let anything like this happen again with someone else. Whether issues like this happen on the internet or in person, most people never speak out about people like Chaos for the following likely reasons, though I can't list all of them. 1. They are afraid they won't be taken seriously. 2. They are afraid they will be dismissed. 3. They are afraid the abuser will try to twist the story in their favor. 4. They are afraid the abuser will use their wallet and lawyer or lawyers to keep their prey quiet. 5. The abuser will gaslight, bully, and do whatever they can to keep their prey into silent submission. While I cannot speak for every single person that has known Chaos in some way, I can safely say that with the platforms that she has at this moment, she is a dangerous, predatory individual. I am Lily. Here is my story, and I will explain it to the best of my ability. I met Chaos through Nummy Pixels about a year or two after I graduated high school. Around that time, I was 20 years old. Chaos was 17 to 18 years old at the time the situation happened, not 14 to 15 like she claimed to be. If I had met Chaos when she was 14 to 15 like she's claiming, that would have meant that I would have still been in high school at the time at the age of 18 to 19 years old. After all, it does say on various social media of hers that her birthday is July 6, 1997. And plus, I have never even heard of or known Chaos when I was in high school. So, yeah, nice try, Chaos. You're not fooling anyone except Junkie and yourself. As Chaos and I talked and got to know each other over time, I would listen to her talk about this entity that was named Madness. She would go on about how he was a powerful entity that ruled and looked over this realm that took place between heaven and hell. At first, I was unsure, but eventually, she took advantage of my understanding and naive nature by reeling me in to listen more and more. And eventually, she had convinced me into believing that this Madness entity was real. When she mentioned that Madness had an email and website that can be used to be kept up to date with what's happening in his life and how there was a way to contact him, she encouraged me to shoot him an email. Of course, being the curious, mentally teenage-minded girl that I was who wanted to have some sort of escape from what I was going through outside of my internet life, I shot this lizard an email saying how I was so grateful to have done this contract with him and that it made me feel so liberated and free, like one of the sides of her persona that Hatsune Miku would mention in Toriko-san Romeo and Cinderella or something like that. Eventually, he responded, and I was so excited! We would talk in the chat box on Google Hangouts a lot, and we would do calls sometimes through Google Hangouts. Of course, Madness never really used the mic, but I didn't really stop to think that this was a highly likely major red siren screaming and wailing from behind me. After all, I was simply over the moon that we got the chance to talk. I cannot count the amount of times that I would have frustrations and arguments with my parents, especially my mom, mainly because I do not remember much as to how many arguments there were or what they were about. But whenever those would come up, I would go to Chaos and or Madness and cry and vent to them about at least some of the things that had happened. As a result, Chaos gave me the idea of possibly moving across the USA to live with her in Oregon. Me, being the hopeful or hopeless, dreamy, supposed damsel in possible distress that I felt I was, longing for independence and freedom from living with my parents at the time, while being completely oblivious to think about the negatives of this suggestion she made, thought this was a really great idea. When I managed to find the time, with Chaos listening in via voice chat, I asked my mom if I could move in with Chaos. Because Chaos was there with her webcam on, so my mom had an idea as to who she was at the time, while being slightly oblivious that Chaos was listening, responded, "We'll see." After I got off voice chat with Chaos, my parents brought me to their room, and, long story short, they said no. I'd rather not get into details about that, mainly because I do not remember most of them, but looking back on it, I can understand why they said no, and I am glad they did not allow me to make such a brainless move. Now, there is one major event that I remember that would have jeopardized my relationship with my parents had the person on the line not have enough context as to what was going on. And that event was the time when Chaos had told me to call DCFS on my mother. Yes, you heard me right. Chaos 55T told me to call DCFS on my own parents. I do not remember what started the argument that my mom and I had because that part is pretty fuzzy, but Chaos had overheard the argument and told me to call DCFS on my own mom. Thankfully, my mom assured the person on the phone that everything was okay and that it was just an argument, nothing more. Eventually, word of that got to Chaos and Madness, and boy, were the both of them mad. They would say things like, "Your mom is abusive, you need to get out of that house," and "ask your older sister to let you move in with her faster." Chaos even mentioned in voice chat at some point that Madness was so angry at my parents that she could hear him throwing things around and pots and pans were crashing into various places. At some other point, there was an event where Madness had mentioned to me that he had some crush on me, And slowly but surely, that little crush led from one thing to another. All of this eventually turned into a very creepy, toxic, possibly non-existent relationship that Chaos had gotten me trapped into, with a rose-tinted nerve gear glued onto my entire face and head. And I say nerve gear in this case because during this time, I was so convinced and brainwashed that madness was real that my brain sometimes thought I saw him or something. There were also a few moments I had during the aftermath of some depression episodes I had where my brain led me to believe that madness was sexually pleasuring me to help me feel better or something. The beginning of the final important event, which was the beginning of the end of this non-existent relationship with this creepy-ass monster, started when I was brought into a Google Hangouts chat with Chaos, Madness, and a friend of Chaos's. I do not have the chat archived, nor do I have the screenshots of it, unfortunately, but basically, it had turned out that this Madness I was interacting with all this time was an imposter of the real Madness at the time. Now, this left me confused and maybe a little heartbroken, but eventually I just brushed the issue aside when it was done and over with, and I didn't think much of it for the next few years. Fast forward to around mid to late 2016, which was when I was fully moved in with my older sister, and around the time when I had started talking to, and eventually dating, someone who most of you may remember me making videos and rants about back in 2014 to 2015, Keenan. Keenan and I are not dating as of current, so keep that in mind. I vividly remember when I apologized to and got back in touch with Keenan for the first time in about 2 to 4 years or so. He had mentioned Chaos 55T in some point in time. I remember him talking about how he was watching everything happening from a distance, and, I shit you not, mentioned how he hated Chaos for what she was doing at the time. He did not like how she was taking advantage of me and was treating me so badly. During my time with Keaton, he had eventually encouraged me into trying to come out about what Chaos had done, which I did, but it was not gaining very much attention at the time. Sometime later, on the magically ugly website that was DeviantArt, Chaos had seen the journal I made about what had happened, and made a DeviantArt status to try and reach out to me to apologize. This was when I was 25 years old at the time. Now, this may be a little off topic, but according to studies, neurodivergent people who would have disorders like ADHD or autism are not fully mature mentally until age 27 or older, and neurotypical people's brains are not fully mature mentally until age 25 or so. Keep this in mind. It may not sound relevant, but this is very important. 25-year-old me thought, hey, maybe I should get back to Chaos and let her know that I can forgive her and that we can move on from this whole thing and pretend it never happened. It's not a big deal, right? When that happened and the apologies were made, that slowly but surely turned out to be a huge mistake. Fast forward to late 2020 to early 2021 or something, and one of my friends brought up Chaos 55T in a voice chat on Discord as a topic. She mentioned to me how at the time, Chaos had also asked my friend to move in with her too. The same friend had also asked me if I remembered the character Madness. I do not remember how the conversation went word for word, but I vividly remember feeling so violated and grossed out with myself when the flashbacks of Chaos came back. I began to feel like what happened was so very wrong. Hell, maybe even my fault for being so gullible and trusting. I felt so grossed out with myself and my own body that I would sometimes think, why would anyone like a horrifyingly awful and ugly human being like me? I remember the very few but somewhat recent times when every time I would try to think about relieving myself in that way when I felt, I would hear Chaos 55T and her character Madness pointing at me and laughing at me in my head, saying things like, "You are such a disgusting, dirty little rag," and "Who would want such an ugly, whorish little slut like you?" Although I am currently in a very happy and loving relationship with my boyfriend Super Viggy, who, yes, is aware of the situation that I had experienced with Chaos as of current, I sometimes have this fear that he will not find me attractive enough and leave me because of the trauma that I am trying my hardest to heal from, thanks to this monstrous evil that is Chaos 55T. Super Figgy, if you're watching this video, thank you for assuring me that you'll be by my side no matter what happens. Thank you for being there for me in times when no one else could or would. Thank you for loving me for me when none of my exes truly would. Chaos, if you're watching this video, which I hope you are, I don't know what to say to you anymore other than fuck you. You've given me so much trauma that I had actually gotten physically sick from the memories of your ugly rapist character to the point where I had puked multiple times in one day. You traumatized me so badly that my ability to determine who to trust and not trust is bouncing all over the wall so much that I don't even know anymore. I hope all of your followers see what you've done to not just me, but several others, and think about where or who their money is truly going to. I don't see you as a human being anymore. I see you as a thing that is so slimy and disgusting that not even Pennywise would want to touch you with a 10-foot pole. I don't want you to die, I don't want you to kill yourself, but I want you to at least go to the police and tell them what you've done so that maybe, just maybe, they can refer you to someone you can see. I hope you understand that. Thank you, Jar, or just a robot, for letting me be in this video and giving me an opportunity to speak out about my experience with Chaos 55T. I can only hope that the awareness about what she's done will spread far and wide. Once again, thank you.
Well, Chaos 55T, I guess you were right. I really did play down your grooming. And it was the grooming that you did. And if you guys remember the video about my past where I talked about Chaos believing in this green ghost, Madness was the one I was talking about. And in that same video, I said that I was in a call with you and Lily, and you were trying to convince Lily to move in with you and your family, and you said that her parents telling her that she shouldn't move in with a random stranger on the internet was illegal. Chaos, I would recommend you make a public apology about this. A little private note on DeviantArt ain't gonna cover the shit you did. Chaos, I'll happily hear your side of the story, but given how naive and dumb Lily is, I can't picture her being the one to groom you. Man, everything I've been through with the commentary community and the DeviantArt ranting community was such an anime story arc. I was slandered, hated by the entire community, brought to the bottom, and now I'm here. One of, if not the most popular commentator who uses an avatar. Those who have backstabbed me or betrayed me have lost their reputations. Now Lulu has made a public apology to me on her current YouTube channel, so you guys definitely should check that out. I am extremely upset with everything that has happened to me, but I think if it didn't happen, I wouldn't have done as much good as I ended up doing. I helped Mari out in her drama. I did what I could to clear the name of Hopeless Peaches. While I think people like the names Junkie, Prismate Luke, Creepshow Art, Kai, and all the others would have eventually been exposed, I think me being around caused them to slip up even quicker. And if it wasn't for me, there would have been a lot more victims. Of course, you also could give the argument that if I never made my Toby video, a lot of the dramas that happened would have probably never happened. But the people I went up against were definitely bad people, and I was able to give closure to so many victims. And in the end, that just makes me feel like the richest man in the world. And honestly, the life I have been given, I wouldn't change it for anything. I want to thank all who stuck by me through thick and thin. Cyberbullying is a major problem on the internet, especially for autistic people. But to all of those who just want to bully autistic people on the internet, know that I'm here to stop you now.